Thanks for coming and joining us on Youth Stories. We're going to talk about, I'm here with Hannah Walker, and we're going to talk about, I suppose, your experience with education during sort of COVID and sort of like that journey through to where you are now. So think back to March 2020 and like what were you doing? What sort of education were you currently in?
I was doing my A-levels at Belfast Met. I was in my AS year, near the end of it.
And were you enjoying it? Like the courses you were doing? Like were you working hard? Do you feel like you were on top of?
Yeah, I really enjoyed 2 out of 3 of my subjects really. But I was ahead of my coursework, so I was working hard with that, and I was studying hard for my exams. Well, yeah, I was for the majority of them anyway. But yeah, that was all cancelled with coronavirus, so it was a bit frustrating.
So you were like coursework, and you said like you were sort of well ahead on coursework, and you had 3 subjects, and like one of you did particularly. What subjects were you doing?
I was doing criminology, English lit, and business.
And which one? What were your favourites?
Criminology and then English. I didn't really like business.
And you were doing pretty well in coursework. Sort of like you were saying that you were sort of well ahead. So it was like March time, sort of it was close to the end of the sort of term, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were just about to do exams. And I've been working on my coursework for like 6-7 months now.
And then you said it all got cancelled.
Yeah, it took a while to actually know what was going on. Like it was like back and forth. Like they might be happening, no they're not, and it was very frustrating because you didn't know what was going on for the majority of the time.
Now, can I say in this, like you have a sister called Amy, and she was also at Belfast Met.
Yeah.
Doing different subjects. So like you were going through this then, and your sister was going through it as well. And you said like it was frustrating because you were getting like bits and pieces of information and not really sure. What was the biggest frustration, or what was the biggest sort of issue or thing that you found hard?
It was more that I didn't know whether all of our work for the entire year was going to actually be put to use, especially because like we didn't know if exams were happening, so it was like we were all still revising in case they were happening, and then it was taking up a lot of time with all the revising and trying to fit it all in, and then we found out that they were all cancelled. And
was it good having like a sister who was sort of on the same sort of path?
Yeah, it was good because not all of our tutors were being told the same information. So like some people were getting told it way before others. So having like more tutors kind of helped find out that like accurate information quicker. And because we were both going through the same thing, it was sort of like easier to get through because we both knew exactly what each other was going through with the stress and the confusion with it all. Yeah,
that was pretty. And then like you probably had friends and other people in your year, like sort of you're all going through the same circumstances. What would, like looking back, what would you say, like how did you deal with that? Like what was your way of sort of working through all that?
I would just rant to my mum, and she would just listen and then tell me if I was being stupid or if like the system was not doing the greatest, which at times it wasn't, but I understand them doing the best they could with the situation because it was all very sudden. It was like art schools need to close now, and exam results are going to be coming up in the next few months.
Yeah, and like I've known you for a good while, so like your personality, you like to know what's happening, you like to like work hard, like especially like you saying you have a course subject like criminology that you are really interested in, and you'd given yourself to in coursework and stuff, so it wasn't like you were just at tech because you had nothing better to do and you were just sort of bluffing your way through it. You were like doing the best you can and wanting to do everything right, and then having this whole like not knowing and uncertainty, and then ranting was your way of.
Yeah. I really enjoyed my subject, so it was the majority. So it was very easy to like immerse yourself in the work and get it all done and enjoy doing it while it's happening. So it was it took I worked hard for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And it was just very frustrating whenever we found out that it wasn't going towards anything really.
And then, like, at the one point, you just didn't go back to tech because of COVID and because of lockdown.
Yeah, I decided I was going to drop out because I've been downgraded for some of my subjects because of the way they did it, and my tutors were annoyed because half of our class had been downgraded, and especially because I didn't take in the coursework for. So levels.
Just to jump back a little bit, at March time when COVID sort of became a thing, and you did the courses pretty much just finish?
Yeah.
Then.
We didn't do any work as soon as we found out that we couldn't go into tech. They were like, alright, that's the end. We're not going to finish the courses, just
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And then were you like, happy days, don't need to do any more, or were you like, probably a frustrating thing where...
Yeah, it was pretty stressful because I knew that it was going to negatively affect us the next year because we wouldn't have all the information for the courses. But we've just continued on with AS this year.
I think that's the thing probably with further education is that young people have chosen to go and do further education, and so for a lot of them they are working hard, they care about it, it's not just they have to do it or there's no other choices. And then for the whole sort of challenge and sort of disruption of COVID, and then you said you were going to drop out.
Yeah, I was going to leave tech to do childcare with Rutledge.
When did you sort of have that thought?
I think it was the middle of August.
Okay, so after summer, when did you switch off from over summer? Were you able to?
Yeah, I didn't really think about tech.
Okay.
Whenever it was coming back up and we had to re-enroll, we were getting all the emails how to re-enroll. It was just, I didn't know if I wanted to do it again because I knew it was going to affect this year as well.
Yeah. So what were your sort of thoughts or options to do?
See, I decided I was probably going to do childcare instead because it was more time at home anyway doing the work, and you could work at your own pace as well as doing work in a nursery.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of having exams that you're not sure are
going to
happen. Yeah, because the childcare was completely coursework, so that was just sent away. Whereas with A levels, it's the majority are exams.
So it was a different style of course that probably was easier or less stressful than sort of business and English lit and criminology. That sort of. So
yeah.
But you went back?
Yeah, I've set my mind on doing criminal psychology.
Yeah.
In university and that, so I need to have my A levels and I need to have. Well, it'd be good to have criminology because it's a really good subject.
And was there much ranting to your mom? Was there much sort of back and forth between do I go back, do I re-enroll, or do I try childcare? How did you work through that whole?
Yeah, I was talking to mum a lot about it. I wanted to go to the Navy for a while too. I'm very indecisive. But she was just telling me that she was going to be happy with whatever decision I made, but the A levels are probably the best for what I want out of life.
So she was sort of helping you work through sort of the options and sort of thinking what that would open up and that sort of thing? Yeah,
she helped me get my whenever I was thinking about doing childcare, she helped me get my placement and sorted out where I would, because it's far away from where I live,
Yeah.
I was going to have to stay overnight at another family member's house, and she was sorting that out for me.
So your mum was really supportive through even changing direction and stuff?
Yeah.
What's that like to have someone who's sort of willing to, so she's not telling you, no, don't do that, you need to do this, she was sort of just willing to support you and work with you? Yeah. Is that a good thing? Is that like...
Yeah, it was really good, because I knew that no matter what I did, I was going to be supported with that.
Yeah.
But it didn't help with me changing my mind every 5 minutes. Just like, yeah, do that, or whatever you want. Like, it was helpful.
Yes.
But I just.
But you say you're like an indecisive. You're sort of like Navy, childcare, Navy.
And there weren't even like similar ones. It was like childcare, criminology, or.
But it's interesting, even, I mean, because for a young person to like figure out what they want to do is a challenge enough. You know, like, you know, am I gonna stay on school? Am I gonna go to tech? Am I gonna go to some other sort of education path? That's a challenge enough, but then to figure that out and to commit yourself to it, then for it to be disrupted massively with like a global pandemic, and then for all the stuff that you've given yourself to sort of be like useless or irrelevant, like it sort of makes sense that like you sort of then go on, well, what are my other options?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I've done this and it didn't work out the way it was supposed to. So you're sort of like, it makes sense that you're like, well, like, what if I tried this? Or should I try the Navy? Should I?
Yeah.
But you ended up back re-enrolling.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Very late. It was like a week before I was supposed to go back.
And was that like stressful? Was that like a relief? Now I've sort of like finally decided and committed to the next sort of...
It was a bit of both, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to get back in.
Okay.
But I wanted to drop business and pick up another AS. But,
yeah.
So I got into A-levels again, so that wasn't, like, that was alright, but then they told me I couldn't drop business, which kind of stressed me out.
So you were able to re-enroll even though it was quite late, and you were hoping to drop the subject that you didn't really want to do anyway.
Yeah.
But you couldn't, but you decided that was okay.
Yeah, because I knew I could do more A-levels afterwards at tech, or like fast track them, so if I didn't pass business, it's not the end of the world, as long as I'm in full-time education doing at least 2 subjects that are going to get me somewhere and I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's pretty like, it's a pretty good way to sort of approach it.
Yeah.
Pretty good sense of awareness of like, I'm willing to sort of suffer this because it means I'm able to do these things that I do want to do and enjoy. And so, like, obviously COVID is still an ongoing issue.
Yeah.
What's that like to be what does your course look like at the minute?
We're online. Well, at the start of the year it was 50-50 online and in person, but I didn't have the right things to do the online part because I was doing it on my phone and I couldn't open certain files. So the tech actually sent out a PC for me to use, which has really helped, but that took a while.
Yeah.
Because obviously there was a lot of students applying for them, and it's been really rough being online in my experience because you don't have the focus of sitting in a classroom. Like you're like in your relaxed home space.
Yeah.
And you've got other family members running about and.
Yes, you're not travelling into tech and there for the day with people who are doing the same thing. You have to be at home and work through all those distractions and other people being at home too.
Yeah.
And like again, you had the experience before, so you had that sort of going to tech, so you knew what it was like from before. No, you're right. No, you're right. So you had that, like, you knew what it was, you knew what it could have been, and it's not that. Is that hard to, like, sort of balance, or are you just like are you the sort of person who likes to make the most of?
I try and see the positives in things, and if not, then I've got people around me that point out the positives. So it's not too bad.
It's just important to have people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And like, how do you feel then for the rest of the course, and like, what are you hopeful for? What do you think's going to be the biggest challenges?
I'm just hoping that exams don't get cancelled again, and it all goes smoothly, and hopefully we get back into texting, because it's a lot easier in tech.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story. Thank you for telling us your experience, and hopefully people who are listening will be encouraged, and probably just that, like, even though it's really difficult to know sometimes what's happening, and they're right sort of outside of your control, that, like, it's important to speak to people, help people who support you, even if it's ranting, even if it's sort of figuring out your options. But ultimately, it's a bit like you have a plan of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's just about how you go about that and trying your best not to stress out about the sort of details of the plan. It's just sort of like, you want to do education, you have sort of, it's not the end of the world if it doesn't work out the way you sort of thought it might have done at the start, but you're going to sort of keep going. No, thank you very much. Really good. We can say goodbye.